Okay, so I have another program here using TK-Inter. Let me just run this. Now this one is a little more involved because we have multiple controls. Here we go. This one is a little more functional. So let me just demo it and then we'll talk about how I packed up all of these controls. It's a little more involved, so this is going to have to go over several videos, but let me just enter, like let's say I have $1,000 and I put that into some kind of investment vehicle, and I'm expecting 5% interest over time, and I'm going to let that money sit there for 30 years. So let me get the future value. So in 30 years, my initial investment of $1,000 could be worth, assuming that the interest rate holds up, over $4,000. So pretty straightforward, but it really the effort is goes into packing up all of these controls here. So let's see, let's take a look at the controls. I have obviously the user input. So these are labels telling the user what to enter. And so I have some labels here, and then these are called entries, or text boxes, we would also call those entries. So there are those, and then there's a label here that we didn't see when I first ran the program, but once I had a result to display, the label was filled in with the results, and then the button here. Now, unlike the last program in the last video, I could not get the button to change colors. The reason, I guess, is because the technique I'm using is different. Because this is more sophisticated, I'm using frames, what we call frames, to pack those controls in, and the button just didn't respond well with the frames. So I just have to let that go. You have to choose your battles with this TK-Inter. So anyway, let me take a look at the code here. We'll just talk about like kind of setting up the basic window. There's something that I forgot to mention in the last video that I want to mention here. So we have our import statements. I've got a couple more here. Well, just actually one more than we saw in the last program. But these are necessary. So I had to, and you'll see this in your book as well. This is the function that's going to execute when the user clicks the Get Future Value button. I'll save that for last. It's really just, reaching into these entries and getting the data out and then plugging it into the formula, basically. So I have the root window. We talked about this in the last example, how you can just easily create a root window. You can set the title. You can set the geometry to whatever dimensions you want. In this case, I did 450 pixels wide by 250 tall. I was able to configure the background color on the root window to light green. So there's that. Now, one more thing I want to mention, and then I think I'm going to end this video. I forgot to talk about this in the last video. This very last line of code, root.main loop, that is what launches your window. So when you click that run button, this is kind of the entryway into the application. So you are going to need that, but typically it'll just be hanging out by itself at the bottom. But yeah, so that's going to launch your TK-Inter window once the user runs the program.